It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wise discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
All right, hello there, South Mississippi, and thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. Well, it sure is cold out there this morning. I would say even too cold for me, and I actually like cold weather, but this was just downright bitter cold across the area. And one of our viewers braved the cold and sent us this picture that I got to show you. We just got it in this morning, showing the freezing air over the relatively warmer Gulf water. I checked the water temperature in the Gulf this morning. The water temperature on our coast is in the 40s. I think it was 46 degrees when I checked it. But the air temperature is freezing. We have temperatures in the lower 20s. So you are seeing what it looks like to look out over the relatively warmer Gulf water and watch that freezing air. You can just kind of see the steam, if you will, coming off of the water this morning there, right offshore of our Mississippi coast. Very impressive picture. Thanks to Alan for sending that to the WLOX weather app. And again, thanks for braving the cold. The good news about today is that it's going to be dry, it's going to be sunny. So that means that it's going to look beautiful. But the bad news is that it is still cold, extremely cold. That's why we have that extreme cold warning still in place for the entire Mississippi coast. Now, this is set to currently expire over the next few hours. So once we get past this morning, we don't have another extreme cold warning for the rest of this week. I suspect we're going to see another one, and that's why I'm giving you the first alert. So let me rephrase that and say it again. Again, extreme cold warning right now, but it's going away this afternoon. I suspect that we're going to see another one, and that's why I'm giving you the first alert about that. If we take a look at the 7-day forecast, we can actually see the potential for deep freezing conditions returning to the area later this week. And so I want you to have an early heads up that you will probably need to monitor the forecast closely if you have outdoor plans this weekend. Maybe having to make some adjustments to your plans because of how frigid it's going to be. Now, a lot of times our cold air is kind of like an overnight and morning thing, and that way it's kind of manageable for some of your plans, which typically take place during the day. But Saturday might be difficult to manage a high of, checks notes, 39 degrees. 39 degrees for the high temperature on Saturday. For reference, remember how cold it was yesterday? That was 43. So with Saturday being 39, it's going to be even colder than it was yesterday. We are expecting an even colder blast of Arctic air to arrive on the coast as we go to the late week and weekend time frame. And that's going to obviously have us with pipe freezes in the mornings. And I think with the pipe freeze, we're also going to see some wind chills in the teens. That's how we're going to get to the next, I think, round of extreme cold warnings. So that's why I'm giving you that first alert, because I do think, based on the current information, we could see some more extreme cold warnings in South Mississippi, perhaps around Friday night to Saturday morning when we see those temperatures falling to the lower 20s, but there will also still be strong wind. And so we could see single number wind chill. That's going to be something to monitor for then as well. And we'll have more detail on that a little bit later in this video, but I do want to get quickly through today before we get too far into the future. So here's a quick look. If you're stepping out the door this Tuesday morning, I got you covered, and I want you to be covered from head to toe. Really just dress as warmly as you can. Maximum bundling is what I like to call this type of weather if you're going to be out in the next hour or two. We are seeing temperatures still remaining in the 20s. We are seeing wind chill numbers still remaining in the lower 20s, if not the teens, into the 9 o'clock hour. Once we get to 10 o'clock in the morning, we're seeing some improvement with the temperatures getting above freezing. And then it's actually going to be even nicer than yesterday when we go to the afternoon, and the temperature basically goes to about 49 or 50, which is pretty close to, being better than yesterday. That's kind of the takeaway. Yesterday we had 43. So if today we actually make it to around 50, That'll be better than yesterday. I think you can really tell when you look at the wind direction. I'm telling you, that's one of the best ways to tell what the weather is doing. Where's the wind coming from? It's like it tells the whole story, at least for me as a meteorologist. So for now, we've been tapping into some really cold wind coming in from the north. And we know that there's actually an ice pack and a snowpack that's sitting on the ground in northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, parts of Arkansas. So when you have the wind blowing from where the ice and the snow is, that's going to be cold. And so with that wind coming in from the north, that's why we have the weather so cold like it is for now. And I think I can possibly pull up a satellite. I'll pull up a satellite of the country over the last, let me see, can I find it? There it is. Over the last 24 hours, and we'll see if I can make that work for us. Just to show you what I was talking about in regards to the snowpack and ice pack that's on the ground to our north. I mean, I can also show you a visual confirmation of that as well with the MDOT cams. So let me take you over to the computer to show you what I'm working on. So there's a look at the MDOT website. These areas that you see highlighted in blue, that's where there are reports of ice and snow on the road and bridges. You don't see that down here on the coast. It's in the northern part of Mississippi. So that's where they're seeing that. And if we plop on some of the cameras, go toward Oxford, for example, are the cams even working there? Because there might be power outages in that area. Yeah, I think the power is kind of out in that area. So I guess we can't look at those. How about some more cams that would be up here in the northern part of the state then. So there you can see what it looks like as cars drive on I-55, one of the busiest interstates in the whole state. And yeah, winter wonderland, right? As you can see just how much snow and ice covers the road. That's the travel lanes. These are, this is not like the median. It's the travel lanes here that cars are driving on top of ice and snow on the interstate in northern Mississippi. So if I take a look at the satellite to just kind of get more of a bird's eye picture of what that looks like from space. Now we don't have enough daylight. We're just getting enough daylight today, and you can already see it. So this part here where the white doesn't move on the map, that's snow and ice covering the ground. And you can see it in the northern part of Mississippi. I'm going to go back to yesterday though, because I think I can get a better look at that. I think I have to go even farther. Let's go 240. I have to get it while the sun is still up. Okay, so there it is before the sun went down. And maybe can I hit pause? I hope it doesn't start moving on me. Well, before it starts moving on me, this is a look back at yesterday. Right here, all of that is up. It started moving on me. Okay, let me see if I might pause it when the sun comes back out, and then we'll take a look at that. Waiting for the sun. Can I speed this up? Okay, and I'm gonna hit pause. There it is. All right, so before the sun went down yesterday, there's a look at the snow and ice pack that covers the ground right there from Texas to North Louisiana to northern Mississippi, much of Tennessee, all that place there covered in white. That's not clouds, that is snow and ice. The clouds move, the snow and ice doesn't move. So that's what lets you know what's what. When you hit play, I'll slow it down and hit play, and you can see that this area is not moving, but these clouds out here over the water are moving. These clouds in the Gulf, they are also moving when you play this out. So yeah, you can easily see that when the wind is coming from the north, we're tapping into that cold air from North Mississippi. So that's why it's so cold this morning, and it's probably going to stay that way until we get the wind to change. And we do start to see the wind coming in from the southwest, or at least from the west or southwest by this afternoon. So that's going to be the beginning of a less cold pattern as we're finally going to stop tapping into that cold north wind once we get to later today. So that's what will help us to make it to a high of, the upper 40s, lower 50s. And it's also why tonight we might not be able to get back to the deep freezer everywhere. So will it freeze tonight? Yes. We're going to be below 32. You want to protect people, pets, and plants. But will it be cold enough to endanger pipes? Will we actually see temperatures in the middle 20s and stay there for 4 hours or more? And right now, it doesn't really look like that. You know, on the coast, we're not going to be middle 20s at all. So places like Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula, you're not really going to see those temperatures for pipes. But areas that are inland, Wiggins, Saussure, Van Cleve, and such, you do get down to the middle 20s, but you gotta need to see it for more than 4 hours before we're gonna see the pipes have an issue, widespread issue. And I just don't see it in the information that I have available to me. You know, maybe the crew later today, they'll have different information. They can reevaluate this by then. But for me right now, it's a pipe freeze with a question mark for our inland areas. I think it's gonna be kind of iffy. If you have the luxury to run the pencil thin stream of water and do all the rest of the pipe protections, go ahead and do them. It won't hurt. Since it's such a close call, it wouldn't hurt. But I do suspect that if you, for some reason or another, happen to not run the water and not do all the protection for pipes tonight, inland areas, you might be able to sneak away and be all right for this night. Now, like I said, that warming trend, I hate to call it warming because it's still going to be chilly, right? 54 Wednesday, nothing warm about that. 56 Thursday, nothing warm about that. But we're not as cold as the first part of the week. So that's, you know, the change there. And it's because we're still tapping into no longer that cold north wind. But let me show you, because we shouldn't get too used to temperatures going up. You know, 49 Tuesday, 54 Wednesday, 56 Thursday. We are not going to stay on that trajectory into the weekend. It's going to reverse. So what we have in place right now, this morning, we are indeed tapping into that colder wind from the north, right? But if we go to, you know, tomorrow and then definitely to Thursday, we don't see as much of that wind from the north. If anything, we actually see a wind coming in from the west and southwest. So that's going to help our temperatures to go up. They're not going to be hot, they're not going to be warm, but they're going up. Less chilly, as you saw, 56. Now by Friday, we're getting ready for the next blast of cold air to come in. Look at it already rolling through Chicago on Friday. It doesn't make it down here to the coast until basically Friday night or Saturday. So Friday during the day, I think we can still sneak in some 50s, fingers crossed. But once we get to Friday night, the cold air washes right over our coast, and Saturday looks like a bone-chilling day. Not just a night, a day that is cold. I showed you earlier on the 7-day how, you know, we're forecasting 30s for highs on Saturday. That's colder than it was yesterday. And you do need to pay attention. I do know it's Mardi Gras season. I know that we do have parades this weekend. On Saturday, there is a parade in Ocean Springs. And this is a very early first look at what you could be expecting in that area around this time. Ocean Springs Elks Club, when that rolls at 1 p.m. Saturday, temperatures could be in the middle 30s during the day in the afternoon. And you're also getting breezy wind from the northwest at 20 miles per hour. So seems uncomfortable to me. We can take a peek at the feels like temperature and find Saturday in the middle of the day, there you go. Wind chill in Biloxi, Ocean Springs of like 23 degrees. So that's what you can expect at an Ocean Springs parade this Saturday. Temperatures in the 30s, windy, and feeling like the 20s. That does not sound like Mardi Gras parade weather to me. But a lot of our parades, they tend to roll rain or shine. But you know, if you're going to that one, you will definitely want to dress as warmly as possible, and just be moving around. Keep your body heat up, because it's going to be quite cold for that particular Mardi Gras parade. I do want to mention Saturday morning, by the way. This is the problem. This is what's going to get us one of those extreme cold warnings. These numbers here. a wind chill of 6 in Wiggins Saturday morning, a wind chill of 9 in Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula on Saturday morning. So those are pretty problematic, dangerous numbers that are likely going to get our next, or at least to me, the chance is increasing, unless this information changes, the chance is increasing for us to see our next extreme cold warning for these numbers here. We could take a peek at Sunday morning. It's not much better. It might be a little less windy, but it's still going to be really cold. And so we still see those dangerous wind chill numbers Sunday morning. Lower teens, single numbers are a possibility in the area. So we take a look at the 10-day forecast, and I'll put this on the screen so it can be large for you to see all the information. And again, for our inland areas, y'all are looking at a number of possible pipe freezes. I probably should have put my question mark here. AM pipe freeze question mark for you Wednesday morning. AM pipe freeze question mark for you Thursday morning. Oh, what the hey, I'm on the fly. Let's throw in the question marks right now. I know we had one this morning, but I am wondering if we will have a long enough duration of mid-20s for the Wednesday morning and Thursday morning freeze. So that'll update in a moment. I've already made the change. On the coast, no pipe freezes. On the coast, there's not one pipe freeze until Saturday morning. And again, that's when I think we're going to start to see those alerts coming back out for the area, those extreme cold warnings. It's a possibility. We go past the weekend, getting to next week. Could it be finally the return of temperatures closer to 60? Maybe on Monday, Groundhog Day Monday, maybe that little rodent might call for an early spring, and maybe we'll be able to get to temperatures that are closer to normal for this time of year. It's not hot. 60 is not hot, but it is not cold. So 60. I'd gladly take 60 over 39 for a high temperature, a daytime high temperature. So I just want to leave you with this, that we do have a multi-day stretch risk of freezing temperatures. Gulfport, Biloxi, Pascagoula, places on the coast. You want to protect people, pets, and plants for sure for Wednesday morning, for Thursday morning. You probably want to throw in the pipes for Saturday morning, for Sunday morning. And then we're still seeing some more freezes next Monday morning, Tuesday morning. For places that are generally north of I-10, including Wiggins and Saucier and Van Cleve, you have, it's like I said, it's right on the border for pipes freeze, I think, for Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. No freeze, actually, at all Friday morning, because it's the day before that cold blast hits. The cold blast hits Friday night, and so usually right before something like that happens, the overnight temperatures tend to go up a little bit. So no Friday morning freeze. But then you do see Saturday morning, that's a pipe freeze inland. Sunday morning, that's a pipe freeze inland. Monday morning, probably also a pipe freeze inland. And then we see Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning kind of working our way back down from that. So just something to keep in mind. Quite a bit of continued cold this week. Even though we started the week cold, we are going to see a little bit of improvement before a big blast of cold air arrives as we go into our weekend time frame. And that can do a number on Mardi Gras festivities on Saturday for sure. Gonna be a cold one when you're saying, "Throw me something, mister." Wear a thick pair of gloves so that the beads don't sting your hands. Well, that'll pretty much do it for this edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. We'll see you again next time. Till then, take care.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.